Open this gate.
You haven't given me any reason.
I have a package for the grannies. Aunties. It's
But-
priority.
You're suspicious. I don't trust you.
You hurt my feelings.
That's not a reason for me to give that to them.
It's their birthday.
I know. I planned the party.
Look, this is a garbage horror. If you don't take the stinking package, the movie ends at the 20-minute mark.
Oh, okay.
Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Garbage Horror episode number 3.
We made it.
We made it. We're back, much to everyone's chagrin, I'm quite sure. This week we have another timeless tale for you. A Troma classic, if you will. And I hear the wind leaving Crystal's sails already. See, Troma has been an eternal disappointment to Crystal ever since she saw her favorite movie, Romeo and Juliet. This movie is Rabid Grannies. Now, this movie is from the sort of the golden era of Troma history. 1984 was Toxic Avenger. 86 was Class of Nukem High. This is a 1988 classic, which has both been controversial and sometimes rather derided, if you will, in the horror community. But we're going to take a look at it today to see if it deserves the praise and the hell that it's been getting over the years. So, real quick, this film is about a family.
Yes.
It's a family get-together, if you will. Two elderly, well, they're called aunties in the film, but the movie's called Grannies, so you make your decisions on that one, are having their 92nd birthday. They must be twins. It's the only way that could work. And the whole family is getting together, and it's a greed-filled fest as every single one of them is hoping to get in the stonking will. We've heard this one before, haven't we?
Yeah, a few times.
A few times. like every movie of its kind ever made. Well, anyways, the whole clan gets together when a mysterious package arrives from the wayward son that has been outcast and branded by the family. And when they open the package, they find a box, which was inside a box, which is kind of a weird gift. But they open it, and then a curse overtakes the grannies, and they become killing monsters, beasts, that begin to devour the entire family. Okay, I'm done. Maybe we should talk about the characters.
Okay. Well, first off, the aunties are Victoria and Elizabeth.
Yes.
They have a staff that run their mansion, which is quite a beautiful mansion.
Yes, it is.
Alice is the youngest maid. We have Miss Buxtable, which is the cook. We have Radu, which is the butler and also their driver.
Do you have any clue how to spell Radu?
I spelled it R-A-D-U.
That's kind of how I did it too. I need to look that one up on IMDb.
Yeah, we can get to that later.
Yeah.
We have Percival, who is a priest.
He is one of the nephews. We're now down to the actual family.
Yeah. Now we're in the family, sorry. We have Fred and Jessica. Fred is the...
I think his character could be defined as obese. That's his character.
Obese and obnoxious.
Yes, well put actually. Well put. Obese and obnoxious. The two O's.
He's ooh?
O.
Not that O-O.
Okay. No, definitely.
No.
Jessica is.
And Jessica is a lounge singer that is 20 years his junior, and he's married and nobody in the family knows. And then we have Helen and John with their two kids, Susie and Gilbert.
Gilbert being a little... Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm gonna start crying.
And then we have Erica and Rachel, who are lesbian.
Rachel being the one not from the family, and very similar. She's the extreme younger one too.
Right, she is, and also all of the family, but the aunties, know Erica's sexual orientation. I think is what she actually put in the movie. And there is Roger, who is the kid punk who's already gone through one fortune and looking to go earn through another.
Yeah, he's kind of a generic douchebag type in this movie. Drives a sports car, jerk to everyone, and somehow gets to sleep with Rachel.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And then there's Bertha, who is the spinster, and then there is Harvey, who is the weapons guy. He's already got some money of his own.
He's kind of the interesting one. He's a bit morally ambiguous. He sells weapons for a living, and he sells to all sides. Thing like Tony Stark style character, except without the cool Iron Man suit.
In fact, they were talking about. He was talking to his partner about how they wanted to start World War III just to get the profits.
Yeah, so he's a very morally questionable character, but he's independently wealthy. In that regard, the only one in the family not really after the fortune.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. He's kind of the most likable guy in the room.
The only reason he wants money is to build bigger tanks.
Which, that's kind of what weapons guys do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll leave anyone out?
I don't think so.
Okay, if we did, we forgot them, which is actually very easy to do in this movie.
Yeah.
Because we just rambled off a lot of characters there, and they're not really developed very well. They spend the first 40 minutes of this movie introducing these characters in kind of an artificial way. We see them driving through the woods, and la-da-da-da-da. Here they are at a gas station. Here's these two here. Here's these two here. And it's very artificial, very trite, and yet you never get a feeling of them.
No, you never get a connection to these characters. No. Any of the 15, by the way, that we missed. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, basically speaking, you spend a lot of time trying to get to know these characters, but never really getting there. So when stuff starts to hit the fan, which it inevitably does, they kind of all, the ones that aren't killed immediately, break off into separate, I guess, fortified rooms, and you get to see them interact. And even though the interactions are very interesting at times, you got no skin in the game,
Yeah, there's nothing there.
It's just you don't get any real feeling or any bite to it. It's entertaining at times, but you don't feel that emotional connection. You don't really care what happens to these characters.
No.
Now that being said, there's still a lot to like about this movie. I mean, we're going to talk about it more in depth, I'm sure, but it was a very well done movie overall. I mean, can't really argue too much with the production quality and whatnot. We do have to warn everyone. This is a Belgian film. It's an English language dub of a Belgian film. It's in French language. In fact, the original French title is Les Memes Cannibales. I have no idea if I said that right. I know Spanish, okay? I know Spanish and sign language. I know a little Spanish and a lot of sign language. That's it. So my French pronunciation probably just had you rolling, and that's okay. That's kind of the point of the show. But I don't care if it's at my expense. But the dubbing in the movie is overall good. I don't give it an A. I'm going to give it like a B-ish. Yeah. I've watched a lot of dubbed horror movies, and the bar's set low. I got to be honest. They had different voice actors for every character. The voice actors fit the characters reasonably well. You could believe the voice at the very least. And the lines coming out of the English-speaking dub seemed like what was actually in the movie. And that's really the standard for what makes a good dub. That's very, very sad, isn't it? I still would like to see a subtitle. No, I wouldn't. No. Okay, forget it. I'm not going down that road.
We've already watched this how many times, and you're proposing to watch it again and having to read it too?
Oh, shut up. Yeah, I'm still not comfortable with this, by the way. We're going before the entire internet. Everybody we have met and everybody we will meet, and admitting to having watched this movie twice.
Yes.
Twice!
And they asked for it.
You people are sick. Well, okay, we should be wrapping this one up before we go too long. Good, bad, best, worst. Crystal, I'm kicking it off to you for the good.
The death scenes.
Woohoo!
There are some really inventive death scenes in this. There's a lot of psychological play with it, especially with Percival's death scene, where even though there's a lot of talking between the two aunties when they're getting ready to kill him, they're playing, angel versus devil, and if you go this way, this will happen, and your soul will be saved eternally, but if you don't go this way, then you're going to be tortured for a long time while you're still here. And it's really interesting to watch the character battle those two sides. That was
the one time in this movie I really felt like I had a strong connection, a strong understanding of what was going on in the character's head. Because he was obviously conflicted. Even though he might not have been the most pious and the most righteous of priests, he obviously had some belief in the faith. And he's being torn between his religious faith and his cowardice. And it's a very interesting internal struggle with him as he battles that one. So yeah, that was a very good sequence, actually. I agree with you completely. For me, the good was the overall production of it. I touched on it briefly, but this movie, for a B movie, built from the ground up, obviously being a B movie, very well done. The castle, mansion, whatever it was, absolutely gorgeous. They had a lot of creepy outside scenes in one part of the movie. The production quality is very, very good throughout. The quality of the cinematography, the editing, everything impeccable. If you did not know the title of this movie was Rabid Grannies, and if it didn't have that Troma stamp on it, you would swear it was actually a real movie in places.
Almost.
It can almost fool you. Okay, the bad.
The exposition.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of exposition in this movie. And some of the things could have been shown, like Christopher, who was the outcast one.
Yeah.
Who we did forget in our beginning list, but that's okay.
That's because he wasn't a character in the movie. He was talked about.
There's still some confusion.
There's some debate. Okay, we'll leave it there.
Yeah, but anyway, so Christopher it comes out that he is the leader of a satanic sect.
Mm-hmm. And he was arrested doing a black mass at one point.
Right. And why they don't show this instead of just telling it is one thing. Another good example is when, even before we meet any of the family, the staff is sitting around and they're talking about how horrible these people are and how they just want the aunties' money and
blah blah, yeah.
And then we see the family and we can get that on our own.
Yeah.
We didn't need them to tell us that before.
The first 40 minutes of this movie is largely exposition, and most of it was unnecessary because the only time you learn anything about these characters is when they're under the stress of their grannies attacking them. And so that's a very weird sentence to construct.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only time that you really get to understand these characters, and it takes too long to get to that point. And it's like you said, they could have cut out a lot of that first act, if not the entire thing. In fact, that's going to be my bad, is the entire first act of this film. You got to wait 39, 40 minutes for anything realistically to happen in this movie.
Right.
And the first act does not do a good job introducing you to the characters. It doesn't do a good job of putting them in the mind frame of these characters. It could be hacked off or severely trimmed back, and you spend more time getting to know them in the second and third act. That, to me, would be the way to go with this movie.
Yeah, I can agree with you there.
Best
for me.
I'm making her go first on everything, by the way.
Yeah, I've noticed. Is insults. They have a lot of good insults and jabs at each other in this movie.
Yeah, they do trade a lot of barbs. Percival takes a lot of the heat, as does Fred. They were easy targets, admittedly, especially Fred.
Well, Fred also can dish it out, though.
Yeah, Fred also was on the dishing out end as well. For me, the part I liked best about this movie, you touched on it briefly earlier, but I want to hone in on it, the psychological elements of the grannies. Those two, I liked having two killers because they could play off one another. That was good. And just the way they tormented, and the actual deaths were not plentiful or gory or spectacular in any way, shape, or form. But the way they set it up and the way they did, the torment and so forth. And part of that was they did not spare the children.
No, they didn't.
The children in this movie got equal treatment on the adults, if not worse treatment. So that was definitely another high point for me.
Yes.
And the worst.
The underdevelopment of the characters.
What we've been saying this whole time. First act, I'm going with it completely, actually. My worst too. First 40 minutes to get to know the characters, we still don't have half their names.
Yeah.
We literally, you can't see our notes, they're on the desk in front of us, but we had to go backtrace, scratch out, figure all this out. And the IMDb entry, for the record, is not helping. So if you watch this movie, keep this review handy. It will save you time. Yeah. I guarantee. Well, all in all, out of 5 stars, I'm going to go first here because I've been so mean to you. I'm giving it 2.5. I'm almost giving it a 2. If they just structured it a little more differently, it had a lot of potential, but the way it is, it feels like half the movie is a total freaking waste. The second half's a decent payoff, but really I can't justify sitting with the first 40 minutes to get there.
Okay, fair enough. For a regular movie, I would agree with you and give it a 2, but on a Troma scale, I'm going to give it a 3.
I know you're still bitter about Romeo and Juliet.
Well, it's not just Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, Catgirls in Heat.
No, Redneck Zombies was... We'll get to that later.
That's another episode.
Yeah.
Calm down. We're running out of time. So on that note...
By the way, look forward to our Troma video.
Yes, we have a whole...
We are going to do at some point.
We're planning a whole episode on Troma, so keep that in mind coming up. On that note, thank you to everyone who has liked us on Facebook. Yes. Thank you to those who have left comments, given us suggestions, given us advice. Lots of virtual hugs. And you are still sick people for making us watch Rabid Grannies another time. But I say that with love.
Yes.
Well, once again, folks,
I promise we'll get to Monster Dog next.
Well, once again, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this was Garbage Horror.
Why are we doing this in the day again?
Bricktail Park closes at 6.
So no day for night.
We have no budget.